Druids are trash. Alright, so let me explain. This is the Service Lamb, Diablo 4, and Druids are trash. Why are they trash? Okay. It's a mix of the two things. Alright. We have, oh god, we have poor survivability, and we have below average damage. So let's just go through it. So the fundamental issue with druids, I believe, all right, this is all opinion. Yeah. I mean, objectively they're trash, but they're worse than they were before. I feel like one of the best skills, core skills, is Storm Strike, where you chain together a couple of blows with the electricity. I feel like it's worse than it used to be, and that is what it is. But out of all of these abilities, they're all actually terrible. So the big problem with a lot of these abilities is they have very low spirit generation and very slow attack speed without having any actual legendary modifier, which, we don't get any, of course. So you can go for fast with claw and go for poison. That's not terrible. And maul, again, you can do ranged and try and actually hit things. But the big problem is range, and for the wind slicer, it just doesn't shoot fast enough for your attack speed. You need to bump it up so much that it just doesn't feel good to use. And damage is very low, even when you max it. Even at max, it's very low. It doesn't improve enough as you level it up. So again, this is the same with all these abilities. All the core skills don't improve damage enough to be reasonable or somewhat meaningful. So you spend the whole time trying to generate spirit, which means you need abundance. So you're forced to pick abundance to get any sort of generation of spirit going. Or just run cooldowns and completely ignore core skills. Which core skills are you're supposed to be your best damage dealing skills. Although Tornado is trash. Let's just get through a few here. Shred is okay. It can do good damage. And Pulverize can do damage that's good, and with the legendary modifier it can be useful. Landslide, I'd debate whether it's good. There's issues here and there. But at the moment they all feel weak. Lightning Storm does good damage, but it uses way too much spirit and you can't consistently fire it. So again, each of these you can only use about Tornado twice before you're out. Pulverize you can use, I think, 3 or 4 times. Depends on how much, if you have a little bit more max spirit. Shred, a couple more times. Shred is a bit more lenient in terms of the spirit use. Even though it says it's the same, it does not feel the same. Because, again, it's a 3-strike attack thing. So there is a bit of... The costs don't quite sum up their use because, again, the attack speed of each of them is different. So you have a feeling of, with Lightning Storm, you're just holding it down and then you've used all your spirit. And it sort of builds up as it goes. So what do they need to do? I feel like they need to double. They need to double your maximum spirit. Just straight up. Straight up. Max spirit needs to be just doubled. Absolutely doubled. And then damage needs to be increased. 50%. Skills probably maybe 60 or 70%. Maybe 100%. So maximum spirit. So we're only at 115. So it needs to be doubled. To be somewhat... Just to be... Either that, or you give persistent spirit regeneration as default. I think having no spirit regeneration is just painful. So Druid is such a pain to play. I can't recommend it to anyone. It's just... You have low health. Your health is bloody... I keep going with the same stupid thing. You have low health. And you have low spirit. So 320 is trash. And this is at level 20, so this is, you got a lot more now, but even then that's still bloody jack shit. Your movement is slow. You get trapped really easy. Your only bulwark, exactly, gives you any sort of escape from being trapped. So only Earth and Bulwark can give you any sort of freeing you up from being ensnared or frozen. And that's only when you have the make you unstoppable, so you can break free. So there is you need it, or a skill that goes towards it, so you have some sort of defensive thing. Cyclone armor is, I think, totally irrelevant. Only good for pushing enemies away, inflicting vulnerability. So your defensive skills are average. Your core skills, I think they're okay. Tornado could be a lot better. If Tornado just went in straight lines, it'd be a million times better skill. I know tornadoes don't go in straight lines, they go wherever, but you don't have to do that. It's a game, for goodness sake. Pulverize is kind of a skill that's hard to understand at times with Overpower. You need to really work a lot on Overpower if you're going to be able to do anything worthwhile with it. And Shred, again, Shred's a bit more practical at times, so it's not a terrible skill. But, again, Spirit usage, you need more Spirit, you need more damage. Cyclone Armor, again, there's a legendary perk that makes Cyclone Armor apply to just not just non-physical damage, but physical damage as well, so it becomes significantly better. So many of these skills are bad on purpose because they're remedied by a legendary affects ability. So this is where the core skills they don't get remedied by legendary abilities until, much later. So I think they do need a redesign. Wind Shear, okay, how would I fix it? Wind Shear needs to shoot 3 as the max upgrade. You can get rid of this one. Get rid of the move speed. Stuff that. And just go, it shoots 3 at once. And then it'd be significantly more effective in terms of building spirit. Storm Strike, I'd go from 2 additional targets to maybe 3 or 4 additional targets. Don't remember the vulnerability, but that's okay. I just buff damage on Claw and on Maul as well. Straight up buff damage. Buff damage on Earth Spike. Earth Spike is wholly irrelevant. It's a bit sad, to be perfectly honest. I'd buff the Spirit Generation, or Spirit Regeneration, or Max Spirit, or all 3. And then if you just boost Max Spirit, then you can justify keeping some of the things the same. So you just boost the default Spirit Regeneration, and the character becomes a lot better to play. And then defensively, it does need a bit of work in terms of escaping from ensnared. So again, both Bloodhowl and Debilitating Roar need to have Unstoppable. I think that's absolute given. Just even if it's only 1 second, 2 seconds, you need to be able to break free of being ensnared. The summons. So let's go at the summon. The wolves are, even at level 6, they're pathetic. They don't die, so they've got a lot more life than, say, skeleton minions, which have been obliterated, but they're not good. They're at high levels. They're only good. They're 1-point wonders, to be perfectly honest. The wolves, you want any piece of equipment that has wonder wolves, because they're great for just distracting the enemies. That's just great, and they respawn themselves. You don't need to keep summoning them. You can use their attack. It doesn't really do anything, even when you have level 6 wolves. It does nothing. Rank 6 wolves, it does nothing. It's irrelevant. But it's just nice to have them attack what you want them to attack. So again, they're trash, but they're distracting tanks. So their only function is to distract the enemy. Poison Creeper, that damage is actually alright. So I know later on when you've got, we're higher levels in the future, there'll be good poison builds. I feel like that's going to be okay in the long run. But at this point, with the level cap at 20 in this Surface Flame, you're not going to get much. You can max Poison Creeper, and then you can do some okay damage, but again, the cooldown's quite long, so you need cooldown reduction, and you have other issues. Ravens are okay. I don't mind Ravens. Again, what is Ravens? It's really just a whirlwind. It's kind of odd, the active for it. But apart from that, summons are what they are. I would prefer, again, more wolves. I prefer as you rank it up, you get an extra wolf. Maybe one of these abilities here, instead of, critical strikes, get attack speed, or even, chance to fortify. It just never happens. You could just have extra wolves. I'd be happily have 2 extra wolves as one of these and pick that. Having 4 wolves would be great, because again, you could have more minions. The Necromancer has heaps. And then here we don't get to do much because we're capped at level 20, so there's no point talking about that. Only Hurricane is pathetically weak, as you'd expect. I mean, it says damage is 226 to 277. It's more like 16 to 19. So it's like, it's a cumulative damage of it being up for 8 seconds. So it's like, if it hits multiple enemies and... No, it's just stupid. It's total trash. So yeah, hopefully, I know not having spirit boons is a big part of why it's not as good. Yes, 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 I'm aware. It just feels like shit. So I died a lot and tried every build basically. Stuck on some of the bosses. I'll walk around here so you can be distracted. So yeah, there's some of the bosses in the dungeons now. I feel like all the enemies are a bit tougher on World Tier 2, and some of the bosses' mechanics you actually had to, you know, pay attention to them. Yeah, I changed the language to Japanese because the English language was trash. It is trash. Yeah, I was very disappointed because I feel like it's so much worse than it was in the previous betas. It sort of staggers me, to be honest, that they made it worse. And again, having those lack of 5 levels, and we took the renown stuff as well, but having those lack of 5 levels does have a huge impact on what builds you can try and make. So you need to stick to the more basic and core skills, but then you don't have your legendary, because you don't get legendaries as often because you have the drop rates that are what they are. So I haven't found a single legendary, but it is what it is. It's been Frosty510 complaining about how trash druids are. Yeah, how sad. Alright then, tell me what you think. Do you reckon druids should be buffed? Do you think they're fine how they are? Do you think every character should be nerfed some more? I mean, Lightning Storm actually did damage. They should nerf that. Really. Let's look at it in reverse. Lightning Storm actually does damage, but you never have enough spirit to really do big damage on a boss, which means, you know, it should be nerfed because it's doing damages to bosses. Poison does damage, tiny amount of damage. I think we need a lot more damage with poison because they take additional crit strike, but there's no straight poison damage increase, is there, on this whole tree? So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see where that goes long term. Yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Druid? Do you also think it's trash? Do you think it can be saved? I think it can be saved. I don't know why they nerfed it though. See, let's do some combat. See, just as this video goes to its conclusion. Alright, we're out of spirit. Oh, now I'm in trouble. Oh, Jesus. Alright then. Like and subscribe. Catch you next time. Bye bye.